In this video, we'll show you how to replace the valves on your motorcycle or ATV. We'll need a few standard tools for this job, along with this specialty tool. This is our Tusk valve spring compressor, and it's a necessary tool for the valve replacement. At this point, we've already got our cylinder head removed from the bike. You can refer to our top end video for instructions in cylinder head removal. We've also removed our camshaft caps and our camshafts, so now we can see our valve buckets. So the first thing we're going to do is remove the buckets and shims from each valve. You want to make sure you're keeping everything organized on your table so it doesn't get mixed up. This is made easy using a magnet. Once you've got those all laid out on your table, ready for a valve spring compressor. We need to choose the correct size collet for our application, and then we're just going to slip that tool over our valve. The top will sit right on top of the valve spring retainer, and the bottom sits right in the middle of the valve. You want to make sure this tool stays centered during the whole process. We're going to begin tightening down the compressor, which is going to compress the valve spring and give us access to our valve collets, which are also known as our keepers. Each valve will have two keepers that need to come out, and we can just get those with our magnet. So we'll sit those on our table, organized with our other valve parts. After that, we can back that tool off, and with that out of the way, we can also remove our top spring retainer and also our valve spring. We're going to sit those down on the table, and then we can push that valve out of the cylinder head and sit that with the other parts. So we've got everything from that one valve organized together on our table. We're going to repeat this process for the rest of the valves. So we're going to put that tool on, compress the spring so we can get our collets out. Sit those on the table, and then we can back that tool back off. We're going to use this process for the intake side as well to get all the valves out of the cylinder head. Now's a great time to inspect your valve seats and see if they need recut. You can refer to your service manual for further information. So now we're cleaning our cylinder head to remove any carbon deposits or buildup that could reduce performance. Once we've got that cleaned up, the next step is replacing the valve stem seals. We found that needle nose pliers work best for removing these. Be careful not to break or chip your valve guides. For installation, apply plenty of assembly lube, and we're going to use an Allen head to help us align the seal to the guide. Once that's in place, we can gently press it onto the valve guide. You always want to be careful when you're working with these stem seals. You don't want to tear one. So once we've got those in place, we're ready to install our new valves. Put some assembly lube on the valve and slide it into the cylinder head. After that, we're going to reinstall our valve springs. Make sure the tighter coils of the spring are facing down when installed, so the coils will get bigger as they come up. We're also going to put our spring retainers in place as well. And then once again, using our Tusk valve spring compressor, we need to compress each valve spring using the same techniques as before. Tighten down the compressor until you've got about 10 millimeters of valve stem sticking up past the top retainer. From there, we're going to tip our cylinder head up, and using a pair of small needle nose pliers, carefully reinstall each collet. Remember, there are two for each valve. It's important to make sure these go in correct in order to avoid damage, and as you can see, this can be a tedious process. Once you've managed to get both keepers into their place, release the tension on the spring slowly. You'll see the keepers raise up and click into place. You may have to do this a couple times to get the keepers to go into the correct position. Now we need to repeat this process to install the other valves. So tighten down the compressor, and then we can install both keepers. Once those are down into place, we're going to release the compressor slowly so the keepers can click into place. And once all the valves have been installed, we can put our shims and buckets back into place. Be sure to use a little assembly lube on the buckets when installing them. After that, install the camshafts, and camshaft caps comes next. Again, plenty of assembly lube on the camshaft caps and in the journals, and on the buckets is a great idea. And then just go ahead and install both the exhaust and intake camshafts. We're going to install and tighten down the bolts for the camshaft caps. Make sure these are tightened in a crisscross pattern to avoid causing any damage. and then refer to your service manual for proper torque specs. And now it's time to check our valve clearance. For instructions to check and adjust your valve clearance, please refer to our valve adjustment video. You'll also need your service manual for this. So after we've got our new valves installed and our valves adjusted, we need to clean up our sealing surfaces for reassembly. When those are clean, we can begin putting our motor back together. For this, you can again refer to our top end video. You also need to refer to your service manual for proper torque specs and timing instructions. And that does it for our valve replacement video. If you have any questions, be sure to call in and let us know. Rocky Mountain ATV MC is the leader for parts, accessories, and apparel for your UTV, ATV, and motorcycle. Thanks for watching.